3000.
What is doing? My name's Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today from a local from down here, which doesn't happen that often, so I'm excited. We've got Tom Duell here. Thanks for coming, man.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Short little drive down the beach there.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Feels like a long drive, though, if you've grown up on the peninsula. Going from Ryder to Drummond is a big deal.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so funny, because I've only been down here a few years, but most of my friends still live in the city, and they'll come down here and they're like, hey, I'm just near your place. And I'm like, where are you? They're like, we're in Portsea. I'm like, man, that's not near my place. Like, would you say that Sandringham is near St Kilda? Probably not. And that's like the same sort of geographic thing.
Yeah, I think once they're on the peninsula, it's like, we're in your neighbourhood. And maybe it's us just being lazy because really it's not that hard to drive half an hour. But, I mean, you drive to Woolies and it's a 5-minute drive. And, yeah.
But everyone gets stuck in their little bubble. Like, I tend to stay in my Drummond, Rosebud, Mornington thing. And once people go a bit further, it's like, Rye, St Andrews, Tulkaruk, Sorrento, and they kind of stay in their bubble. It happens everywhere.
For sure. I mean, I grew up surfing down here, and it's pretty funny of like the crews that you see out at certain breaks are pretty like, you're like, oh, hang on, he lives in St Andrews, and like he never leaves St Andrews. Like I remember, like I don't surf as much anymore, but when I was growing up surfing, I wouldn't drive further than 5 minutes to go get a wave. We're gonna be like, come surf Portsea. I'd be like, I'm not driving to Portsea.
Was it territorial though?
I don't know. We talked about this the other day actually with a few of my friends, and there are some waves down here that I think are definitely territorial. But I think that if you kind of like drop the, no, I've lived in Rye my whole life, they're like, oh, you're good. Yeah.
See, and this is another thing that I've faced since moving down here is that people say, oh, are you local? And I say, yes, because I've been here 3 years. But they're like, nah, you've got to live here for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Or they'll pull the whole, what school did you go to? And I'm like, not here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I probably got the privilege of I was born here, I grew up here, and like I probably don't get hung shit on it. But like you had my friend Mawson on the podcast not long ago, and he is a blow-in. But he's been here for like 20 years, and he still cops like, 20
years, and he hasn't got his card stamped.
Maybe 20's wrong, but he's been down here a long time, and like it's. I think it's more of an ongoing joke amongst the friend group of like you're.
Okay.
You're not a local yet.
I think if you bring something to the culture, to the society, it helps you elevate that status quicker.
For sure.
Yeah. If you're just there surfing the waves, like Morse, he's got the record thing going, he's doing all that stuff.
Oh man, he's the busiest man in the world.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
His work ethic is awesome. And that DIY, just let's get it done. I love that.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I learned a lot off Morse. So yeah, really good dude.
For sure. So we'll talk about the music thing. We'll talk about You Are Here.
Yep.
Got it right?
Yeah. Hang on.
We'll talk about that, which is new. But also, you've got a degree in
it's psychological science.
Which is very interesting and very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
I would struggle to spell psychological science.
I did for the first year of the degree. I was like, people would ask me to write it. I don't know.
Yeah. So you finished that, was that 4 years?
That one was just 3, so that's a batch. And then I did start a master's in counselling, and that was probably like a year after finishing that. And I was pretty like set on becoming like a psychologist, but I just kind of, and like I guess this is where like You Are Here kind of comes into it. I didn't really like the whole clinical side of things as much, and I thought that like I saw a lot of friends and a lot of family kind of struggle to get into the system. And then when they got into the system, they had all these big words thrown at them, and they didn't really come across too many people that they could actually, I guess, connect with. So like
as a patient,
yeah. And like, I found it really interesting, like learning about like all the nuts and bolts of like mental health and like, why we think that certain things and whatever, all the theory behind it. And like, it was really cool. And I think it's really good I've got that background, but I think I'm moving towards like we really need to simplify this whole area, because like I think that's a big problem is like people don't know how to talk about it, and like then they go see a psych, and I think a lot of people do leave being more confused, and like
people fall through the cracks, which
they do.
I think what happens.
Well, for sure. And like a big thing I find like is a massive barrier is like financial reasons. I mean, it's like we can get a mental health plan, but at the end of the day, people are still paying like $80 a session, like which is for some people just completely unattainable.
100%. And look, I'm luckily in the point in my life where I can afford to pay for that stuff, which I've got the mental health plan. I haven't put it into action. And the reason why I haven't, because it's hard to find somebody in your local area that's willing to take people on. Especially down here, as the peninsula gets more and more south and more pointy, that medical system, like, I don't think there's any bulk billing doctors anymore. You know, I
Nah.
don't think there's the psychologists that I spoke to, that people referred me to, weren't taking new patients. It's hard.
For sure. I know of one bulk billing psychologist down here in Rosebud, but that's about it.
They'd be flat out, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and it's really hard to get into. And prior to like actually doing the degree, I was working as a mental health support worker.
Yep.
And I'd have like a bunch of clients who had some of like the most challenging like mental health difficulties that you could probably face. Like they were really going through it, and like I had like this one guy, and obviously you can't say names and that, but like this guy needed weekly help, and he got put on a wait list that was a year and a half long. I was like, what are we doing?
I know. And the same sort of thing can be said about the drug and alcohol treatment. Like people that need that help need it pretty quickly. And when they're put on a waiting list, what do you think they're going to do within that time? They're not going to be making the right steps, you wouldn't think.
Well, the only really support he had was me rocking up once a week and like, trying to get him out of the house. And like at this time I had no training, no qualification. I was basically just a friend. And like that's kind of where I guess I'm going with like this whole organization, is that like, yeah, I think that having those small supports, not just therapists, are like really helpful. And like, I'm not, when I say like, oh, like I helped this guy so much, like, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but like the progress I saw in him was awesome.
Yeah.
And like, we got him from someone who wouldn't leave the house at all to playing basketball socially on a Wednesday.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
yeah.
And that's what a lot of these people, I know it seems like a real Band-Aid solution, but a lot of these people, not everybody has a large family or network of friends or colleagues or anything around them. And getting them to find their place is definitely important, because they would just feel isolated more than anything, and that's where the negativity would creep in, I'd imagine.
I honestly think that isolation is like one of the main causes of all of this. Like I feel like the second you feel connected socially, you start to make progress in a pretty good direction. And like, yeah, I mean, having worked in the field is like, that's kind of like the main thing you see, is all these people are isolated. Most of these people are by themselves. Like I didn't have a single client, participant, whatever you want to call them, that had a partner, or had a good family life. Like it was really sad.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, like we were talking before off camera with some of my own personal stuff, some people want to be by themselves. They don't want, like, do you know what I mean? Some people are, for lack of a better term, loners, or just enjoy not being around people. I guess
sure.
everyone's different.
No, I agree for sure. I think I probably fall into that category a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's really good to learn how to be by yourself. And like maybe this will like probably delve more into like relationship stuff, but you do, I guess, have people in your life that will jump from relationship to relationship for a source of comfort, rather than maybe addressing their own
Fear of
concerns.
being alone.
Yeah, and like everyone's got a fear of being alone, but
100%.
I think once you learn how to do it, you fall in love with it a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know. I think life's a balance, to be honest. Like, I think you need to really work out, firstly, what works for you, but I think you can't be completely independent. You can't be completely supported. Like, I think there needs to be a good balance of like, I can work shit out by myself, but also, it's really good to have my friends around me and support me when I need them.
Like everything in life, balance is key.
Yeah.
Anything too much or too, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no. So, I mean, you can go on about this stuff all day, and yeah,
Let's take it back. Let's talk about your journey before we get to the You Are Here stuff. Let's talk about your journey with music. You've obviously been involved with music since you've been a teenager.
Yeah, probably 12, since I was 12. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, because down here, let's put it, you grew up in Rye, so the high schools that you can go to are pretty limited.
Yeah, Rosie Sec, which I went to. Then there was Rosebud Padua, but then all the kids that went to Padua had to go to Mornington in year 10. So like, that was it. And like, they were the private school. I don't even think they're private. I think they're just Catholic, but we looked at them as private school kids.
They are private to an extent, I think, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so you have two options. I was really lucky in my schooling sense of, I went to Bonio Primary School down here, and I got put in prep class with two awesome kids, Louis and Darcy, and we went through Bonio and Rosebud together. And like, I think like, you know, my sister had something completely different where she went through school and couldn't really find like a good friend group. I've had the same friend group since I was 5.
Yeah, which is lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. And, you know, I'm really grateful for my experience down here, but everyone's experience is going to be different. But from a personal note, like, I think Rosebud was awesome, Bonio was awesome, and yeah, although maybe I wasn't the best academically.
Did they foster the musical culture though? There,
Oh,
at that
no,
school?
that was something we had to find our own.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Has that changed now, I wonder?
I've heard that Rosebud's actually making a lot of really good steps. Like, they've got a full wellness centre there now.
Wow. It looks impressive, the campus, when I drive past.
Yeah, I actually walked through it a couple of years ago with another job that I was working, and the work they put into it looks amazing. And like, I think they've gotten really progressive and also looked after, you know, I think more diverse kids, and like maybe you know, like, I hate to like, I think I'll just like say it up front, but I remember when I was at high school, there was only one openly gay kid, and like, it was like, I felt really bad because it was like, you know, that would be pretty hard at a public school, being the only person that could, you know, come out as that. And then now I think they've got this great little community. I don't know the name of it, but I remember, I'll get stuck on it, so I'll move on from it. But basically, they're fostering a really good little system there. They've got a mentor program who I know a few people that are going in every week and like just going in and talking to these kids. So, you know, amongst a lot of shit in the world, there are still like really good little projects that are happening.
For sure. And you'd imagine with the growth of the peninsula, especially down this southern end, there probably is a need for another high school down the track pretty soon.
I'd say so, yeah. I don't know where they'd build it, but yeah.
But you've got to think, if people are coming from, you know, Sorrento and Portsea, which the argument's probably like they've got money, they're sending them to a different school, but there is people that fall through the cracks there that have lived there forever that still can't afford that private school. You'd think that catchment area is pretty large.
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't know what the numbers are, to be honest, on either
But it's
school.
growing quickly.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people like me that are moving down here, having families, and that's contributing. Yeah.
I've heard about zoning too. Like, I think with the primary schools, like you can't go to Bonio anymore unless you live in like a 5 kilometre radius or something.
So my son's in prep.
Yeah.
We put him down for Bonio, Rosebud, and Dramana. And he's at Dramana. We're happy with that, but he didn't get into Bonio.
Yeah,
Because he was out of the zone.
See, when I was there, it was a little country school, and they'd call us in at lunchtime with a cowbell. Like, yeah, it was great.
So where did the music come from? How did you discover music? You said it wasn't really something that they pushed you at school, so you found it yourself?
Yeah, music was strange for me, I think. And it's cool thinking about it because I probably haven't thought about it in a while. But I remember my uncle, Carl, he bought me guitar lessons when I was like 12 or 13, and I didn't play guitar. And I was like, what the hell are you doing?
So you had no interest. He just thought, I'm getting him into guitar.
Yeah. And he got me lessons with this guy called Rick.
Did he play guitar?
My uncle, from what I know, I don't think he plays guitar.
He just goes, I want my nephew to play guitar, and he's going to do it.
No, growing up, you know, we just used to go on like Bali holidays with him, and we you know, he kind of looks like Buddha. So when we were kids, we'd like, you know, bloody rub his stomach and go, this is good luck. No, but yeah, he got me lessons. And then my mum's partner at the time got me a guitar. And then, yeah, I started going to this guy called Rick in Rye, and he just ran it out the back of his house. And like at the start, I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. Like, you know, I was kind of interested, but, and I think I was going to say I had a few friends doing it, but I think I might have been, and I'll get probably called out if I get this wrong, but I think I might have been the first in the friend group to do it. Maybe my mate Louis got there first, but Darcy, who I've grown up playing music with, I think maybe jumped in after me. Anyways, started doing lessons with Rick, and I picked it up quicker than I thought.
Yep.
And I remember the first thing I wanted to do was my favourite TV show at the time was Bondi Rescue.
Okay.
And I said, I want to learn how to play In the Summertime by Thirsty Merc. And so, like, you know, we went through all the chords, and then eventually it was like, all right, this is the chords. Every time you watch Bondi Rescue, in the ad break, you have to play the song. And so I'd sit there in the ad break and I'd take me back to the... And yeah, that kind of happened. And I started getting, like, really into playing the guitar, and I loved it. And I don't really know where this timeline fits in, maybe a year or so after, but my best friend Darcy... They have a property, his family have a property out in Main Ridge, and one of my other friends, Hamish, his dad plays in a local band called the Warranes. They've been going for years, kind of OG Ninja crew. And they were doing like a album video filming thing there. Anyways, they'd film the video.
And you're what, 13 or something?
Yeah, and we were just hanging out there having a bit of fun. And then they left all the instruments on stage. They'd finished up for the day, and I remember Darcy and Hamish had jumped up, and they're like, "Tom, get on the guitar, let's have a play." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, all right, that could be fun." And then so it was us three, and then we were just like, "Oh, we should make a band." And then I remember we wanted to call the band Bike. And we were like, "This is the shittest name ever."
Bike?
Yeah, I don't know why. But the place that we were playing at, they've got this like old, beautiful, I think it's like an old arts dance floor, but it's called the Roundhouse, and it's just a circular building made of completely glass with like, it's crazy. Anyway, so we named the band Roundhouse in the end.
That's cool because I would think that name is a roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
But then it's got an artistic sort of meaning, that's interesting.
For sure, yeah. So then that kind of started, and we started jamming every Friday night for like the foreseeable future. And like our mate Felix also joined, as well as Darcy's sister Ruby. So there was 5 of us. There was another guy at the start too, but like that, I don't even know if we were really jamming then. We maybe played like one gig in someone's backyard. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got real into it to like the point where like every Friday, and we became like the little like heartthrob Ninja band, you know, and I feel like it was the only time in my life I felt popular. Like
okay, paint the picture. What hairstyles are you rocking at this stage to be the heartthrob?
Oh, well, I'm bald now, but I used to have like blonde side fringe and like...
Yeah, the side fringe era.
Yeah, we were all the side fringe era, actually, I think. Bar maybe Hamish, our drummer, was like... His favourite musician in the world was Trey Cool from Green Day, so I feel like he tried to replicate that a bit.
Yeah, okay.
But no, we were playing heaps of gigs, and like I kind of fell in love with it. I was a really shy kid though, so like I was kind of pretty happy playing guitar and like hiding in the corner. Whereas like my best friend Darcy was the lead singer, and he's always had lots of charisma, and like he was good at that. But like I guess like we did that, we jammed, we played in like Battle of the Bands, and we did well. We'd go to school and everyone's like, "When's the next Roundhouse gig?" And you know, we'd play gigs at and like probably, if we are talking about music, I do want to give this place a shout out because they probably gave me my beginning was Baja back in Rye.
Yep.
Not Harbour, what it turned into.
Baja, yes, when it was still the taco spot.
Yeah. We used to play. We had a Sunday slot there. We'd play there every Sunday. And Nath and you know, Timmy and all the crew there were probably the first people that gave me my leg up playing music. So like, yeah, I don't think I'd...
You were still kids then, though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's videos of us, and we're about... Like, the guitars are bigger than us.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
But, yeah, we'd play there, and they'd look after us. They'd give us a real look into what the music scene was. And I think, like, that's what I really liked, is like... And maybe that's why I've always been in kind of independent bands and done my own thing, is like... I don't know. I felt really connected there, and I think that we really missed having places like that on the peninsula now. Everything kind of feels a bit, I don't know, it doesn't feel real.
Look, and I don't think it's just the peninsula. I think the live music stuff is
probably everywhere.
It is everywhere. Look, the only place where I think it is thriving is kind of like the inner north, where you've got places like the Punters Club coming back and that sort of thing. And you've got Laundry Bar, which is going back to, you know, from just DJs and rappers to having more live music. So there is that little pop, but I think everywhere else is struggling in the same sort of basket as the peninsula, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably do know what it is, but yeah, it's sad. I think that's the thing. I get real down about it sometimes. Like, you know, we'll go to book a gig down here, and it's like, what do we have?
I know. It's tough. I think there is a push to make the Broadway theatre into a live music spot.
Seen that.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. And like, yeah, there are a few venues that are still doing cool things. Like out in Balnarring, there's 2 venues now, a Bolo and then the Social Club, and like they're pretty open to having bands. So anything that is...
And the Pig and Whistle's all right.
Yeah, the Pig and Whistle's cool. Me and Darcy actually ran an event there last year, Pigs and Lipstick.
Yep, and Nath was involved in that one.
Yeah, Woodsy filmed the whole thing, which was cool. And that was a really good day.
That sold out, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was cool. It was just a testament to like how good DIY is. Like, you know, me and Darcy put that together, and like Darcy was the brains of that. That's his thing. I was kind of his just sidekick. But like, I think there was like 10 or 12 bands on the lineup. It was, shirts were made. Were shirts made? Or maybe he was thinking about making shirts. Maybe he didn't. But
The thought was there.
It was awesome. It sold out. Everyone had a great day. And it was one of the best gigs I've been a part of. And I think if we go back to like bare bones and we go back to just like simplifying things and just putting a show on for the sake of putting a show on and like focusing on the music rather than like, I don't know. I was thinking yesterday, like I hate all these corporate words that are starting to slip into like scenes that shouldn't be corporate, like activations, and like I hate all that shit so much.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to a friend who has a retail space at the moment, and I said that to him. I'm like, what you want to do, because he wants to do cool stuff. I'm like, you need to get the corporate activations in there to pay for the space so then you can do the cool shit.
Yeah.
Kind of has its place in the world.
It has its place, yeah. I think maybe for me, though, I can't get my head around it just yet. But I do agree. There's a place for everything in the world. But I think, and shout out to, and we've got Woodsy in the corner here, shout out to, his good mate Redro. Like one of the coolest venues we ever had was Mooner Arts. That was full DIY, bare bones, and like, it was awesome. And I think that's something that the youth of the peninsula need, because I feel like, people in my crew move to the city because they don't get it anymore.
I know. It's tough. Look, man, I will be honest, one day I'd love to have a podcast studio, a rehearsal studio, a gallery space, and a live space all in one building. That's my plan one day down here. I don't have the money now, but one day.
Love that.
Hold me to it.
Yeah.
All right, Woodsy? So, Roundhouse, what happens then? School finishes?
School finishes and we basically disband. We'd been doing it from like 12 to 18.
That's a third of your life.
Yeah. And we were tight. Like, I think that was the thing, but all the songs were pretty cheesy. Like, I think we'd grown up with like our parents kind of influencing it, and like we were writing songs about like, the environment and surfing, and like that's all cool and fun. But I think we got to the point where we wanted to start writing some like rock and roll and like, delve into that a bit. And like maybe too, spending 6 years in a band with anyone, get a bit sick of each other. Having said that, all friends with all of them still. But yeah, so we played our last gig actually with Stiff Richards, local legends. Yeah, and then there was many incarnations. I played in like a band called King Richard, a band called Meeks, and then I joined Bleach, and like that was where I got like my first touring experience, and like also DIY. We recorded all our albums ourselves and all that. That was fun. And then I kind of got a bit of not hatred for music, but I just lost love for it.
What was the catalyst for that?
I've been doing it so much, I think. I was actually studying it at the time too. I was doing audio engineering, and I think like
that mixed made it too much of a work, and
it did too. And I think you put like 4 or 5. There was 5 people in that band who were all really driven towards one goal. And like if we don't start getting towards that goal, it can start like feeling a bit sour. And like I think that friendships were starting to get a bit affected by it, and I remember that's the reason I left. Actually, I just said I feel like we're all clashing too much. Well, me personally, I didn't say that about everyone else, but I was just like, I don't want to ruin friendships. And
you seem like a level-headed guy, and you would have put the friendships ahead of the music
for sure. And like to be honest, I wasn't loving it. I was like,
once you lose the passion, it becomes a job.
Yeah, I mean, we toured the East Coast with them, and I remember like, in my head, I was like, I should love this. This should be like the best experience of my life. And all the boys and Rubes as well, sorry, who was in the band, not all the boys, boys and girl, were like, this is the best time. Like, this is the best time of my life. I remember thinking the whole time, like, I'm not really liking it. Like, I'm not.
You're out of your comfort zone, or it wasn't what you thought it was cracked up to be, sort of?
I think I was, and like, yeah, it'll probably blend into this so we can come back to it. But I think I was starting to go through some like mental struggles myself. And that whole tour, I didn't really feel like myself. Like, they were all having late nights. And, like, we'd have, like, nights where we'd have to get up at 3 and drive to Brisbane Airport. And, like, I don't know. I just didn't have a good time. And I quit. And I quit music for, I don't know, a year or 2. I do remember my last gig was on the Ninch before I left. And I think maybe I felt, like, a bit underappreciated because I'd been busting my ass as a musician for so long. And I'd never really been successful, and I don't know, I think that sucked to me a bit. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself, so I quit, And I remember that night, I remember Drew Hayes, local guy, got on the microphone and like when I walked off stage and he said like a few really nice words about me. And was like, you know, like shout out to Tom, blah, blah, blah. You know, like it was beautiful. And I got a bit emotional and I was like, okay, like it feels really good to like have someone like go out of their way to say this to the whole room. Yeah. And like that
you felt a little bit of validation and appreciation.
I felt love, to be honest. And I was awesome. Like, yeah. I was like, sick. Anyways, I was like, I'm still pulling the pin on this. Like, I'm still not happy in it.
Yeah, you're not tricking me back.
Yeah, I'm not coming back. And then, it was like a couple of years where I was just like working on myself. I was running heaps. I was going to the gym, which I'm not a gym guy. But they were good self-growth years. And then I got a call from, I don't know where it started. It was hotly debated. But me and Kalani, who play in the band I play in now, were surfing and we were kind of just talking about music. I'd never met him before, to be honest. We went to the same school. I kind of knew about him, but like we were just out in the water one day. I was like, oh, Tom, Kalani, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. You play drums, I play guitar. And then I remember Mawson called me. He's like, why don't you play music anymore, mate? And I was like, because I don't like it. I'm not having fun. He's like, just come over. This was at Doe Street where he was living at the time. He's like, come over and hang out and like, let's just play tunes, but with like no expectations. Like, doesn't have to turn into a band, doesn't have to be anything. And I was like, cool, all right, like I'll bring Kalani and we'll do it. And I don't know, that was like maybe just before COVID. And like, it was just a couple of months of just fun. Like we didn't really take it seriously. We were just playing like songs I'd been writing still. Like I'd still write a lot in that time I had off.
Lyrics as well as melodies and stuff?
Yeah, my songwriting process is probably very different to everyone's.
Well, let's get into it. It's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, in terms of songwriting, I think that it's very cathartic for me, and it's a weird thing where I can't like just say this is why I don't think I could ever be managed or produced. I can't be like told, all right, you've got to sit down and write a song right now. That's not how it works for me. It's pretty spontaneous in the fact that I'll pick up a guitar and I'll just be doodling around and it'll be like, oh, that sounds really good. And then next minute, the song's done. Uh-huh. And it's like I almost black out. Like I don't really put much thought into it.
It's coming from somewhere else almost.
Yeah. I mean, Noel Gallagher, I think, once said, great songs just fall out of the sky. Mm-hmm. And that resonates with me in that sense of like, I don't think I've ever sat down and gone, oh, like I'm feeling like really like sad about this situation. Let's write about it. Or, you know, that conflict over in, you know, the other side of the world's affecting me. I'm going to write about it. I just write literally whatever comes out of my head. And then I find I'll look back on it a couple months later and I'll be like, wow, like everything I wrote, that's about like that breakup or like that's about like my relationship with, you know, someone in my family. It's really funny how like switching off for me and I can still write about something that makes total sense. Like I reckon I've written songs, pretty much every song I've ever written has got like a direct meaning to some cause. It's not just words on paper, but I don't think I've ever designed it for it to be that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's a great outlet for me, but like, yeah, I mean, we're writing new songs with Doe Street at the moment and like, I'm looking back on the lyrics, I'm like, why did I write that? And then, you know, the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, you know, that's about like me getting my degree. That's about me trying to find my place in the world. And it's really cool. So I really like that in that sense. But yeah, that kind of took us to jamming at Doe Street. And then I started loving it again because I didn't have these like constraints on me.
Yeah. And the expectations weren't there. So you felt it was more organic and just, yeah.
And I think, you know, Mawson and Kalani were really good at, getting me. I think I was so driven to be like successful and so driven to be like this rock star that it was kind of killing me inside. Mm-hmm. Where like it kind of got me back into the love for music. Mm-hmm. And it was good. So yeah, we did that. And then one of my best mates, Shani, had always wanted to be a musician. And like, I was like, you need to play in this band. And she was like, no, like I'm too shy. And I was like, dude, like she's one of the best musicians I know, but like just, I think probably lacks a bit of confidence in herself. And like to get her playing in the band was one of the fucking coolest things. Like I think that was like really the big spark that got me back into it where I was like, holy shit, we got Shani on board. And like, so we started doing that. And then I was like, let's gig. And then it all happened. We released 2 records. I got on vinyl for the first time in my life. That was like amazing. ticked off all these things I always wanted to tick off. And it was funny how it all came about, because it came about by like just being, I don't know, like not really having, I don't know what I said, no constraints. And it was just like no pressure. We were just having fun. And, you know, I got to play the corner. I got to play like, you know, with Bad Dreams, like all these bands and meet all these people. And it was everything I ever wanted. And it was like, hell yeah, like I've ticked that off. It feels good. And then maybe towards the end, I started getting that, I want to be like successful again. And that kind of threw me off a bit. And like, we got into a bit of a hiatus. I know I'm just rushing through the Doe Street story now, but like...
You don't have to, but if you want to, you can rush through it. It's up to you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean... It's funny how you ebb and flow in life. Like, you know, you feel like you're on a really good path, and then, you know, you kind of lose track of like what you were actually there for and like what's important to you, I think. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, I kind of went through something similar with Doe Street recently, where we kind of... I kind of shut the band down again, because like, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't vibing, and like maybe I just didn't feel like I was going the direction I wanted to go in.
It is always hard with bands to make sure that everyone's on the same page, going in the same direction, which is really hard because you've also got people in different stages of their lives, different maturity levels when it comes to songwriting and what kind of art they want to put out there. I could imagine that's tough.
Well, that was it, I think, and like everyone's got stuff going on in their lives, and everyone's really busy. And like, I think it was just that we could never really tie it all together at the end of it. And I was like, I felt like we were getting a lot of momentum, and I was like, let's go, you know. And like everyone in the band will agree with this. Like, I think like once I get like stuck on something, I'm like, let's play all these gigs, let's record all these albums, like. And
you've got to be respectful to the other people, because they may not be on that ebb and flow.
100%. Yeah. I don't think they were, which is totally understandable.
You got to get the cycles to sort of line up there.
For sure. And like, I'm in Doe Street, I'm writing all the songs. Like it's definitely a big part of it's my creative project. And I think I hated that at the same time. Like, I think I look at bands like Stiff Richards and, you know, all my friends' bands, Coffin or whatever it is, and they're really collaborative in their songwriting process. Whereas like, and it goes back to what we were saying before, I don't know if that was on camera or if it was on camera, but like being independent and being like hyper independent, I think that's something I've done with my songwriting, is that I'll write the song, bring it to the band and be like, this is the song, we're playing it. Yeah. Where I think I started to hate that part of myself a bit and be like, I really want to bring a song in and be like, what do you guys think? Should we add this? Like, you know, and that's kind of what we've done now. And that's where I'm at currently, is that, like Shani and Mawson don't play in the band anymore. And like completely mutual, still so sweet. Like
Mawson's got a lot on his plate.
Mawson's in like 5 bands, dude.
And he's a dad, and he's got a business.
Record label. Yeah. No.
So it's understandable.
We were sweet. Shani, same thing. She lives in Melbourne, man. It's hard when 3 other members live on the peninsula. Yep. She's also in like 3 or 4 bands now. So we moved on there, and then kind of in a cute reunion, me and Darcy got things going again from Roundhouse days. So Darcy joined the band, which gave me just a massive boost, because like, I think like being able to connect with someone musically is a huge thing. And we've just got this thing where like, over like the past 2 years where I wasn't playing music, you know, we'd do like little acoustic shows, and we wouldn't practice at all. We'd get together the night before and be like, we got 3 hours worth of material, and be like, oh, we'll work it out. And we'd play the whole thing through, and we'd hardly make a mistake. Just
chemistry.
Because, well, it's chemistry, and it's like, I know exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I'm pretty blessed to have someone like that back in the band again, because it's just, yeah, it works. And then, yeah, we got Stringer, who's from the local band Cutters. And yeah, I've never been in a band with someone who's as driven as that guy. He's awesome. So I think right now it's really good, because I've got someone who's as keen as me in Stringer. Darcy was laughing the other day. He went on a 3-day hike, and he came back to like 180 messages in the band chat, and he's like, how the fuck am I going to get through all this?
Group chat. That's when you've got to do the old, like, I'll get it with this podcast where you're talking to someone for 2 hours, you go back, you see all the messages, and you just got to go, what did I miss? And generally, it's not much.
No, it's a lot of me and Stringer going, we should do this, we should do that. So, I don't know, I've got full band froth back right now.
Band froth.
yeah,
good.
yeah. No, it's wicked. So I mean, that was kind of where I got musically, I guess, and that's where I'm at right now. And I guess that's been such a big part of my life. But yeah, I think that's as much as I can cover in that, and maybe we can move on to talking a bit about the mental health.
But before we wrap the music stuff,
yeah.
What can you give us any stuff that people can expect from Doe Street? Are you touring? You got a new record coming out? What are they?
Yeah, we're recording this weekend, so we'll have a bunch of new music coming
Recording
out.
down
soon.
here?
In Dramana, actually, believe it or not.
Oh, with Michael?
Yeah, Elusive.
Yeah.
Funnily, Michael taught me at uni, and his mum taught me in primary school, so small
There you
little
go.
circle.
Did you go to SAE?
Yes,
I used to live next door to there.
good spot.
Yeah, oh well, it was when I was in the city, but yeah. No, I know Michael. I went and had a look at his studio space the other day, see if we make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. So yeah, we're recording. We'll have music out, and then we've just got a bunch of shows coming up again, which is cool. I think we're pretty keen just to give it a bit of a red hot crack, and have fun playing music again. I think that's like something we've spoken about at band practice. Is like we're not here to be the biggest band in the world. We're here just to like write songs, enjoy ourselves, and like if anything else happens, that's a bonus. Yeah.
I always ask musicians to try and explain their music to my nan who's turning 87 this month.
Ooh, I don't know. The Doe Street's been the hardest band I've ever been in to explain because like parts of us are like melodic and like, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. I think I really lean into, I like not pop, but I like songs that have a poppy twist to them. So I think every Doe Street song has something that's kind of catchy, but also at the same time, I'm really influenced by bands like the Sunny Boys and the Saints. So it comes off as like still a bit of like surf punk with a little bit of maybe poppy choruses in there.
Pub.
Yeah, and
rock?
it's garagey. It's pretty it's pretty bare bones DIY.
So what are you telling my nan?
Too many guitar solos, but you probably get the song stuck in your head, Nan.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, that's what we'll tell her.
Yeah.
All right, so the music stuff, we'll leave that for now.
Yeah, cool.
Let's talk about, you've studied the
Psychological science.
Psychological science,
Yeah.
and you've got a degree in that, and then you've also talked about your own mental health stuff. So do you want to talk about your own journey with mental health, and then maybe, I'm guessing that was a catalyst to get you into studying?
That's probably a good place to start, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I mentioned it before. I was always a shy kid. And I guess I thought shy was just shy, but maybe shy was anxious looking back on it. I remember Mum saying she would drop me at daycare and I would hang off her leg. Like I was the kid that wouldn't want to go to daycare, whereas like other kids would get dropped off and they'd run in and be like, "See you, Mum, get fucked." Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, "Nah, I don't want to be there." Yeah, and I think if I'm like being honest, looking back, I was pretty scared of a lot of things. Maybe still am. But I think it all really kicked off that I thought I might have some mental health challenges in my life was when I was like 14 maybe, and I just got like this massive pain in my chest. And I was like, heart attack? Massive hypochondriac, by the way, back then.
Panic attack.
Yeah, and I was like, shit. And I remember I was home alone, which was very rare for me. So I ran upstairs and got the home phone. I was like, Mum, I think I'm having a heart attack. Of course, your mum freaks out, comes home. My mum and dad are separated, and I remember Mum had called Dad, and Dad had gotten there as well. And I'm like, I know that they think this is a big deal because they're both in the same place. And then they also picked my sister up from school, and I was like, this is a massive deal. All right, so I went to the hospital, and they're like, young boy with chest pain. And I remember getting rushed straight through, and I was like, this doesn't happen. Yeah, and then I got put on a bed, and I remember they like checked my heart and all that, and I was okay. And then they're like, "Oh, we'll do some blood tests." And I remember they did the blood tests, and I looked down, and I passed out.
From the blood.
I think I was just so
the whole thing
overstimulated. I was like freaking out. And then, yeah, they were basically like, your health's fine, your heart's fine. We think it might be anxiety. And I remember I was like, anxiety? Like, I don't have anxiety. I also didn't know what anxiety was. I think I was just like, yeah. And then I think I did see a psychologist back then, but I don't think it lasted long. I think I went with my mum, and it might have been in Mornington. And I think, to be honest, it might have been more around like family stuff rather than my personal stuff. And then it was something I just ignored, to be honest, if I'm being real. I just was like, yeah, I'll be fine.
It's easy to be distracted as a teenager because you've got a lot of stuff happening and you're learning and you're changing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had all my friends around me in high school. I had a girlfriend in high school. I was like, life was good. Finished high school, got my license. Like, last thing I wanted to do was go see a therapist, to be honest. And then, I got into a long-term relationship, and then that's kind of where I started really working out that I probably had, pretty bad anxiety. And I was driving to pick, my partner at the time up from an event in Mornington. I remember I was driving the car and I just felt like I was going to faint. Chest was racing. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I was hungover too, which doesn't help. And I think that will be touched. Alcohol and mental health don't go together well. And I pulled the car over, and I remember I just ran into a random's house, and I was just,
wow.
And I was like, knocked on the door, and I was like, I need a glass of water. And they're like, okay, no worries. Are you okay? I was like, yeah, fine. Sculled the glass of water, went back out, and I was like, we're good. And I got back in the car, drove again. 5 minutes later, the same thing happened. Pulled over on the side of the road in Mornington. I'm just starting to wave down cars. I was like, help. I think I'm like having like a heart attack or something.
So it's the physical pressure in your chest. It's not just mental, it's physical.
Yeah, and it's obviously leading to me being lightheaded and stuff. And I waved down this couple, and they're just like, you okay? By the way, which is fair enough. Not many people are going to stop for like a long-haired, 18-year-old who's like...
You're a tall dude as well.
Yeah. Finally, they stopped. And what's wrong? And I was like, I think I'm dying. And they're like, get in the car. We'll drive you to hospital. And so I left my car on the side of the road, and I just laid down their back seat. And I just remember I felt like I was kind of going in and out of consciousness a bit. I didn't really know, but then got to Frankston, and the husband picked me up and walked me in, and he was really good.
They would have thought you were drug affected.
They would have thought I was so drug affected.
Yeah.
And that's something too. I've never taken a drug in my life. No. So I was I remember I went in to the hospital, and they're like, "Are you on drugs?" And I said that. I was like, "I've never taken drugs. It's just not, never been my bag, and it's other people's bags." Pun, maybe. But yeah, anyways, same thing. Checked my heart, checked all that, and sure enough, you're fine. So,
did you tell them about the anxiety stuff previously?
No, I mean, when you're in those states, you're not thinking logically.
Okay.
You just want help, really.
Yep.
It's pretty scary. I texted my mum in the car, though, and she'd come pick me up. And I just remember I went home that night, and I just felt so weird.
Right.
I just laid there in bed, just wired. And, yeah, everyone at that point was like, Tom, you need to start, getting help. It's unfair to you, and it's unfair to others.
And they're worried about you, man.
100%, yeah. Same thing, I didn't get help. And, my partner at the time saw it probably too much. And I would just have anxiety attack after anxiety attack after
anxiety attack. Do you know what the triggers were?
To be honest, at that point, I think drinking, and also, unfortunately, from having that incident in the car, I got really anxious around being in cars. So every time I'd get in a car, it would just get set off. Right.
But for you to understand the triggers is a good step.
Yeah, for sure. So then that happened, and I separated with that person. We separated, and then I went away not long after it with two of my girlfriends, Zara and Courtney, and we went to Phillip Island. I got pretty drunk that night, and I remember I did the self-destructive. I had really long hair. I shaved all my hair off. I was like, fuck yeah, break up, Tom. And then the next morning I woke up and we drove back, and I had the biggest panic attack I've ever had, where I was like, pull the car over. And I remember I just ran down to this stream and just started flushing my face with water. And then that was the first moment I was like, dude, get your shit together. Go fucking see someone, because you don't like living like this, and your friends don't like seeing you live like this. Your family doesn't like seeing you live like this.
Essentially, you were self-medicating with the booze.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Which was working at the night time, but the next day was just triggering the anxiety more and more and more.
100%, yeah. So yeah, I booked in to see a psychologist in Sorrento. That was my first proper experience. And it was awesome. It was like, I had my world opened up and I was like, damn, like...
In the first session?
Oh, I reckon, to be honest, but like I probably had like 7 or 8 sessions with her. And like every session I was excited, I was so excited to go in because I was like, we're going to feel better and like we're going to learn more about ourselves. And
is that person still there? I want to go.
no, she's not. I went there the other day actually, and apparently she works for like the military now or something.
Oh, because she's too good. They need, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is that, look, from my experience with this, with talking to someone like that, it's hard because a lot of people want that quick fix, and it's never that easy.
No, it's not a quick fix.
But you've got to go and lay the ground foundation, tell them where all this stuff comes from before you can work on it. And a lot of people don't give it that much time. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's expensive.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I think too, like I've read something the other day, basically life is a bunch of problems and you just got to prioritize what ones you want to spend your time on.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's a bit negative, but yeah.
It is negative, but like, I mean, solving problems, I guess, I think what he was probably the point he was trying to make was like solving problems gives you that kind of sense of gratification? Yeah. Satisfaction, yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's it. But yeah, I finished up seeing her and it was like the healthiest I'd ever felt. Like I was running, this is when I was running and gymming, when I was saying before, I was just like, felt really good. And then I was like, man, I'm really interested in like this whole mental health side of things. Like, how did she turn me from what I was 3 months ago to what I am now? Like it's a crazy flip. Yeah. And so I was like studying teaching at the time, actually. And I was like...
I can see you being a good teacher.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one day. Yeah. But I remember at the time, I was like, do I really want to be a teacher right now? I was like, I'd rather like learn more about this and like help others. And so I enrolled in the psych course and I was like, I've got no experience in psychology. Like, am I going to get into this? But thankfully, a few of my credits from the teaching course helped me out. And I got in and I just like fell in love with studying it. I was like, oh, it was the same thing as like what I was saying there is I was really excited to see this psychologist. It was the same thing with that class though. I'd go in, I'd be like, oh, like what do we learn about today? Like, you know, we'll learn about the brain. This is going to be fun, or like relationships, whatever it was. I just loved being there, which is not an experience I had with normal schooling. I liked going to school because I got to see my friends, but I didn't love the actual classwork. Yep. Whereas this one, I loved the classwork and I kind of made it my life. Like I'd probably...
You're a bit more mature now as well, though.
Yeah, for
sure. I often think for most people, if you went to high school as a grown-up, you would probably do a lot more than you do. And I guess the people that do well at high school have just got that more maturity.
That's true, yeah. And I think they've probably got good support around them and like, you know... yeah. Anyway, so I studied that, loved it, finished it, and then... I guess like life's a challenging thing. I finished and I was like, we're just going to go straight into the field. We're going to have a job straight away. Things are going to be good. I couldn't find a job for like 10 months. I was like,
is it that catch when it's like, you don't have the worked experience?
So exactly. My dad was looking for jobs at the time. My dad's got like 30 or 40 years experience working in like project management, but he has no uni experience. So he was applying for jobs and they were going, oh, you're a really good candidate, but you need to have some like study. And then I'd apply for a job and they'd be like, you're a really good candidate, but you need some experience. So I was like, this is
Catch 22, yeah.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting a job in like a industry that I didn't really line up with. Like, but it was the first job that took me. And I was like, well, I'm not going to say no. Like, so
Can you tell us the industry?
Yeah. It was working with like gyms and swimming pools. And I was their community engagement and inclusion coordinator, which like doesn't really have anything to do with psychology.
No. Sounds like they're trying to tick a couple of boxes there.
Oh, well, I think they were. Anyway, so I did that and I was like, when I first got the job, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm an adult now. I got a full-time job. You know, I've finished my studies. Everything's good. I got some fancy uniform. I got some stupid job title I get to tell people. Like you know, I'm winning. And like, maybe the first 2 weeks of it or the first month, I was like, yeah, this is sick. And then I was like, God, I feel pretty empty. Like, you put all this time into studying psychology and now you're working in an office with like the brightest lights in the world. And like, I will say this because it's all going on camera. The people I worked with were lovely there. Absolutely loved them. The organisation, I didn't really align with their values. And I felt maybe like I was a bit of a pushing a button and like feeling, like you said, I can't forget the line, but like I was like, I don't know. I think that I looked good as a hire, but I didn't feel like I was actually doing anything too beneficial. Didn't feel like I was really making.
I don't know the organisation, but I can imagine that there is chats that happen around boardrooms that say, hey, we need to be looking to do the right thing for diversity and for wellness and stuff. So go and employ the diversity and wellness person and then we can move on to make money.
For sure. And like, I'd be working with amazing organisations like Bunjawara in Hastings and I'd get to work with some amazing kids and that, and I'd feel good about that, but I would feel like the business didn't feel like that good about it. I thought they just thought it was like, oh, sick, like this is going to look good on a monthly report.
That's it, yeah.
And I was like, okay, like that's shit. Anyways.
It sucks because people don't push that stuff because they want the box ticked. They push it because they want change. And when people just go, oh, let's just do that and push it to the side, it's sort of counterproductive.
It is, yeah. So worked that for close to a year, and then honestly that like threw me into like a massive bout of depression. Which growing up anxious, like, I've dealt with anxiety, but I'd never felt like proper depression before.
Yeah.
And I like hated my life. I was like, I remember it got to the point where like I'd wake up every morning and I'd be like, oh, we got to go to the office today. And then I'd have a shower, I'd put my uniform on, and then I'd sit on the couch and I'd go, I'm just going to message them and just say like I'm sick and I'm going to work from home again. And I'd just do that on repeat. And then I'd go to work and I'd, maybe have a panic attack, and I was just like, this is so shit. I'm in the worst environment.
It's torture.
It was torture. And I was like, maybe I'm not a 9-to-5 worker. Like that, maybe that's not my thing. Like, we are put into a bit of a box there. It's like you grow up, you got to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. No other option. Yeah. Anyway, so I quit, and like that was one of the hardest decisions I've made because I'd worked so hard to finally get this real job. They'd put a lot of faith in me and like all these things, all these factors. And I remember just going like, do you really want to quit this? Like, you're just going to throw it all away? And then I did quit it.
And it wasn't your dream job though. You know what I mean?
Nah, it wasn't. But I can be hard on myself, and I was real hard on myself. Anyways, I fell into like a deeper depression after that, and I moved out of my house with my roommates, and I moved back in with my mum, and I like didn't leave bed for like 3 months. Like I was just like, this sucks.
No music?
No music, no nothing. I couldn't even really like leave the house, man. It was pretty bad. Like, and I, at the start I thought it was like I was having some like bad health issues, like physical health issues. And because I'd put all the work into my mental health, I just assumed that like, no, it couldn't be mental health again. Like, this isn't mental health. Like,
are you still seeing somebody at that stage to talk to?
Nah, I'm not seeing anyone.
That is a problem, do you think?
100%. I think you got to be pretty consistent. I think you got to be consistent in all aspects of looking after your health. And like, I'll touch on that a bit later. But yeah, I was just in bed. I was bedrotting. I was just sitting on my phone. I felt physically weak. I felt just so shit, and I just was pretty defeated. I remember like my mum took me on a holiday to my favourite place in the world, Crescent Head, and I got up there and I didn't leave bed for the whole time again. And yeah, I remember like she came into my room and she's like, "You okay?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I'm like completely defeated. Like
anxiety coupled with just depression.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do anything. Like everything's fucked basically. Mm-hmm. And like, then I came back. Then I remember I went and I started seeing this really good doctor. And I know it's really hard for some people to find a good GP or a good psychologist. And like, it's hard. Like I went through like probably a year of searching till I found this guy. And this guy, I went in and I've never had a GP sit with me for an hour basically.
Wow.
And go, tell me everything. And he was, I'm talking childhood, adolescence. And I'm like, I've only got a 20-minute session, dude. And he's like, no, I want to hear everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, yeah, I think you've got like really bad mental health issues. And I was like, I thought I got over that. Like, I've been a psychologist, yada, yada. Like, and he was like, I think you need to be medicated. And this is where I think everyone's journey is different. I've been brought up pretty natural. Like, having said that, I'm still like vaccinated and all that. I really like if I get a headache, I'll just drink a lot of water. If I'm crook, I'll eat really well. Like, I try to look after myself without taking pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't think they're amazing, because I think they are, and I think they serve a massive purpose in the world.
But use the right way.
For me, like, as an individual, I like knowing that I can overcome things myself. Mm-hmm. And like, it's probably really stubborn, but
the human body is good at that, though.
Human body is amazing. And like, this is where I'm getting. I was bed rotting for 3 months, man. I felt I was incapable of doing anything. And the second he's like, you need to be medicated. I remember I went home, I was sat in my room, and I go, well, you're either going to get medicated, or you're going to fucking just try everything you're fucking scared of and get your ass out of bed and just like start doing shit again. Start going to therapy, start eating well. And so I remember, like, first thing I did, I went home and I put on my runners, put on like some clothes, and I walked over to the beach and I went for this beach walk, which like sounds like nothing, but I dead set was scared to leave the house. And I forced myself out, and I came back and I go, all right, we did it. We didn't die. We feel good. Let's start doing that every day. And then from there, it was like just doing little things every day that were kind of like benefiting my mental health. And like, it was kind of an experiment for me, to be honest, of like,
push the limits, because it's essentially what you're doing is kind of like exposure therapy.
It is, yeah. 100%. And I was like, let's see. I gave myself a bit of a timeline. I said, do this for a month. If you see no benefits and you still feel completely unable to be a person, then you got to get yourself medicated. But rather than sitting in bed and feeling sorry for yourself, actually try and do all these things you want to do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was the best thing I ever did, because I started running again. I started swimming. I was unemployed for like 8 months. And, I started doing gardening rounds with my mate 2 days a week. And then just, I'm looking back on it now, and I'm still on that journey now. I think like your whole life is a journey towards something, like improving and being better. And like, it's so cool to look back and just to go, holy shit. Like, every time I do get down these days, I'm like, look back, like you'd work 1 day a week, and like last year, and you thought that was the biggest accomplishment in the world. Like, stop putting this like massive value on like being this perfect human being. Like, be proud of all the shit that you do, and like the fact that you are a part of society again, and you feel comfortable in your skin, and like all these things.
Be thankful you live in an amazing place.
That's it. Yeah, be thankful. And like,
people come to holiday down here, and you get to walk at the beach every day.
That's it. Yeah. And like, gratefulness was something I learned over the journey. Like, I was doing this journal, which would tell you to do like write 3 things at the end of every day you're grateful for.
Yep.
And like, something I learned was like, what we're going back with the band stuff about is like, I always wanted to be this, big rock star, selling out shows and selling out albums and stuff. And I'd have these big goals and these big wins. And, I'd release vinyl, and it'd be like this great like hit of like endorphins. But I wouldn't celebrate, going down, like going down the beach, having a swim, and like looking around and going, holy shit, how good's this? I would never celebrate that stuff. And it was like, I think I found a lot more happiness and a lot more success in my mental health when I started like being like, how sick's this? Like, even right now, like, we're sitting down having a great conversation about, like some pretty deep stuff, and like I could be in bed still, like scrolling on Instagram.
It is, and it's it is a really hard thing for people that don't suffer depression to understand how hard it is for people to drag themselves out of bed.
It's impossible.
But the thing is, and this sounds so rudimental and so stupid, but you've just got to do it. You've just got to, and it sounds so bad, but you've just got to get up and get out. Like, that's the key. But mentally doing it, and once you do it, you realize it's not that bad. And then you do it a bit more.
Exactly. I mean, you're in control of this vessel at the end of the day. Like, it's only you that obviously support, and like I couldn't have probably gotten that without, you know, my mate telling me about this doctor and my mum driving me to this doctor and like my friends checking in on me every day and going like, I hope you're all right. That stuff is main part of it. But at the end of the day, it's you, the person that sits up and goes, fucking get outside and just do it.
Which I know. I don't want that to come across to people that might be watching this and going through that at the moment.
No.
Like, shut up! Don't just tell me to do it. But they have to be ready. But I think that encouragement is very important.
100%. Yeah. No, I agree. And like, you kind of have to teeter a line on this stuff. Like if someone had walked into my room when I was feeling like that and was like, Tom, get the fuck out of bed, it would have been, get fucked. I'm not doing that. But, I think, and it's everyone's journey's different. For me, I found it was really encouraging having support from family and friends. And like,
which you were lucky for, because a lot of people don't have that. Like the guy you're talking about earlier, you know.
Exactly, and that's kind of where I wanted to start this organization, is because I want to have this resource and this like this service almost available for people where they can feel, you know, normal and feel like, oh, okay, I've had that problem before, and like, you know, I feel a little bit better knowing someone else went through that, and then look at them now, like kind of thing, or like, you know. I don't know. The whole point behind setting up You Are Here is accessible mental health resources and making mental health kind of like simplified and normal. And the whole like idea behind the name is like, you know, you look at a map, right? And like most maps have got the index You Are Here on it. And if you're looking at a map, you're most likely lost. And like the whole point is like that, like this service is to help people that are lost and to help them find direction and like.
And know there is a way out.
Know there is a way out, yeah. And like a big thing that I'm starting to do, and like, well, this is still in its infancy, so people are going to see this and be like, oh, nothing's happened yet. But like, I'm really wanting to actually talk to people from the community and like have them share their stories, and like a big part of it is storytelling, and like, you know, like people will listen to this and probably. People who know me are probably going to have no idea that I spent 3 months in bed last year, and like they're probably, you know, hopefully that's something cool for them to see. You know, I remember someone came up to me the other day, I didn't know you had a fucking university degree, and I was like, yeah, like, you know, I don't know. I think that storytelling's so cool and so important, and I'd done a bit of work with Living Culture in the past, local Indigenous organisation. Like Uncle Lionel is like such a big advocate for that, and like, you know, Indigenous culture is so deeply rooted in storytelling, and like you listen to him talk and you learn so much, and like, you know, about, and like I really want to work with them in the future too, is like all these plants that have these like crazy medicinal purposes for mental health and all this stuff has been passed down from person to person, not textbook to textbook. So I think like that stuff's really cool, and that's why I really want to like differ myself from like being like, you know, anxiety is a condition where yada yada yada. Like I want it to be like talking to people like you and me and being like, I went through this, I felt like this, and this is what helped me, and like, I don't know, reducing the stigma around it and making people feel more connected.
Yeah, and the thing is with anxiety is it plays a part in the human like system. You need it because it warns you of danger. But when you've got it excessively, it's just working overdrive. That's essentially what's happening. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a fight or flight response. You know, and like they always give you the example like cavemen, like back in the day, like if they didn't have that response, they wouldn't know that like a saber-toothed tiger is dangerous and it's going to kill them. And like the thing is, it is that simple in its essence, but we just use that response for like modern problems now. Or like, oh, like I'm really anxious to leave the house. The exact same thing is going on inside your head as what was going on inside the caveman's head, but we don't know really. We do, but we don't know how to differ the difference that well.
Yeah. Personally, just talking about your personal journey, because I'm curious to how this plays out. Does the natural stuff work, or did you go down the medication route?
I never medicated.
Okay.
No, not once.
And no, let's just put a disclaimer. You're not saying that it's not right for some people. No. Some people need it.
I put that on my page the first day. I'm like, this is not like a substitute for that. If you feel like you need it, I've said this before. Every single person's is so much different. And like every person's mental health is so much different. You can't compare your struggles to someone else's struggles, but I think you can learn from others. And there's probably 50% of the people out there that, you know, would probably hear my story and be like, I could probably do that. And then there's probably another 50% that go, I'm not just going to get the fuck out of bed and like, I want to take medication because it helps me. And like, I think that's the thing is you're not going to please everyone. It's like the whole thing of like living in democracy. You're going to have to put up with people's opinions that you don't like. And like, that's all part of like living in a democracy. Same thing with mental health. Like things are different.
For sure. And for some people, and probably I'll say for most people that are suffering that in bed depression sort of stuff, it's probably a combination of all of the above. A bit of medication, talking to somebody, and fucking getting out there and doing some exercise.
Yeah. I mean, when we were studying, and like it still rings true, like the root cause of all mental health challenges, they say biological, psychological, and social. Then there's three like intertwining factors. I remember like really cool study I saw. Maybe it wasn't even a study, but like it was like when I was kind of getting into like treating myself naturally, and like I wouldn't even say, when I say naturally, people are going to think like, oh, I'm on hippie herbs and stuff. I was literally just like exercising and like sitting in the sunlight, reading, just doing positive things for myself.
Diet, was that important to you?
Yeah, very important. Yeah, for sure.
So what did you, because everyone's version of healthy eating is very different.
I think you got to find what works for you, to be honest.
What works for you though?
Oh, eating a lot of greens and like I just wouldn't eat like fast foods and like, so I mean, to be honest.
Though?
Yeah, meat for sure. I'm a meat eater, but I'm lucky in the sense my mum brought me up a pretty healthy eater. Like that household's been pretty organic most of my life.
Right.
So like
that was easy.
I know people don't have that access.
Yeah.
But
I see people, man. I see people like at the supermarket and they've just got 2-liter Cokes and all this grim stuff, and I'm like, you are into this. Like, not to say that I'm the most healthy person, but you're just like, that's an unhealthy cycle. You know what I mean?
It is.
And so it's lucky for you that you had that. You didn't have to try and push that shit away. Because some people go to the fridge and their family's got all this unhealthy shit in there. Yeah.
I guess the point I wanted to make about like the whole medication thing is that like medication is so important. But a good analogy to look at is like a lot of people like with like depression, right? You get given these things called SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And like that's basically antidepressant medication, and it boosts your serotonin in the brain. A big part of the logic of like taking that is like insinuating that depression is a lack of serotonin, which is like kind of saying like having a headache is like having a lack of Panadol. It's important, it works, and yeah, there is a lack of serotonin in the brain, but there's a lot of other factors at play. And like I think that like if you're not seeking therapy maybe and like you're just taking the medication, it's a great stopper, but I just encourage people to, if they can, and that's why I want to make this service. This is a big part of it, is like find some services where you can talk about what's going on and like get to the bottom of it a little bit more, rather than like, it's like with like what I was doing with alcohol, man. It's like, it's a stop. It makes you feel really good for a little bit, and like whatever, that time when you're drunk, you feel really good, but then you wake up the next day and the problem's still there.
Yeah.
And like, I think, yeah, I want to find a way to make like access to therapy easier. I did learn about the other day, you can get on Community Health and basically get free therapy. So that's a
Community Health.
Yeah, service down here.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna share a little thing on the page about it soon, so I'll link it in. But yeah, so that can be free therapy. Basically, you have to prove that like you're struggling, but that's at the same time, if you are struggling, then you'll be able to prove that pretty easily. But yeah, I am real passionate about just helping people and like making sure people don't have to go through the same shit I went through. Because I feel like that was a big thing in my journey. It was like, I'm a pretty empathetic person. I like sympathetic, empathetic. I always get those two wrong, but
I feel similar.
Yeah, I feel other people's pain, and like probably more than I feel my own pain sometimes. And like, I really just want people to not have to go through the shit show I went through, because it felt like I searched for years for like the right areas and like the right stuff that worked. And like, I feel like I've tried bloody everything. You know, I've been to Chinese doctors. I've been to, you know, multiple therapists. I mean, art therapy, you know, I've tried running, swimming, and like I've tried natural medicines, that are supposed to work, which probably hard to say if they do or don't. But yeah, I just think that that's kind of, I feel like that's my calling in life, is to like be this kind of, and like I feel like even in my friend groups, I've always been this connector of like, I'm the guy that organizes the trips, or like if I meet a friend who I think really likes this other friend, I'm like, dude, you've got to meet him because you guys are going to get along. I don't know. I feel like, someone told me they read a book the other day and like everyone's got a role in life. And like, I feel like my role in life is a connector.
I think my partner's read that book as well, because when we got together, she's like, you're a connector. And I don't know what the other roles are.
No, neither.
But she's told us about that. There's, it's like some people are more passive and some people, very interesting. So tell us about You Are Here, like, because we've talked about it, but let's talk about what it is and maybe the roadmap or what it's going to become, what your plans are.
For sure. So on the surface, it's going to be like a mental health project. And my aim at this current time is to firstly reduce stigma, but also to provide a resource that is free and accessible for people.
Physically here or online?
I think it's going to start online, but I've already written up. I would like to go into schools, and like obviously, the thing is, like, if I do this, I'm going to have to like be paid for it. But like at the end of the day, schools get mental health budgets. It's not actually coming out of the school's money. So I said free before. I was like, I'm not just going to rock up to your school for nothing. But basically, I've got multiple presentations. I've got workshops I've put together. I've got this like little analogy called the garden where I want to take it to kids and like explain your mental health as if you're looking after a garden, like watering the garden, like and like it's just going to be a bunch of resources I have online and in person, obviously, that simplify mental health. I think that's the main thing, is make it. I remember when I was naming the business, I was like, can I just name it like mental health for like everyday Joes or like average Joes? Something that's just like really personable and really easy to like digest.
Mental health for dummies, like the book.
No, seriously. And like, so I think in terms of like a business standpoint, I want to run an Instagram page, I want to run a website, and I want to be going out to schools and like businesses and having talks. And like, I think that's like the big part when I first started, is like, I want to be like I don't know what you'd call it, motivational speaker, where you go in and then, maybe run a workshop and like, just give people some tools that might help. And like, maybe tell a bit of my story as well. Like just to like, do that. But I've got a few sport clubs that are like interested in me coming in. So that'll be like my first couple jobs, which will be good. And like, I'm like just thinking, I was like, what am I going to go in and talk about? And like, one thought I had was like, what's the difference between physical and mental health to you? Because like, I was thinking my sport days, right? It's a lot easier to call the coach and be like, I got a bung ankle, mate. I can't make it. The coach is going to be like, yeah, no worries, mate. But if you call the coach and go, oh, mate, I'm real anxious. Like, I'm real depressed. It's a lot. That doesn't feel as good.
Oh, kick a couple of goals, you'll be right.
Yeah, no, that's it though. And like, even like yourself, like spitting those words out, it feels harder to say, and you feel like they're not going to take you seriously. Whereas like, in my opinion, like I think we need to get to a point where physical and mental health are considered the same and like equal, because at the end of the day, like they're both facets of your health.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it is going to be just opening up conversations and having chats. And at this point, it's in its infancy, but I'm like, I've been wanting to do this for years, and I've just not had the courage to do it. And someone said to me the other day, it was just like, just start it. You'll make a bunch of mistakes, but eventually you're going to end up in the place you want to end up.
The hardest thing to do with a lot of projects is start it. Once you start it, you'll find your way.
Yeah.
And to continue the analogy with the sports, also with mental health, you could use that. You could draw another analogy where when people do injure themselves, they do the rehab. Sports people know what they need to do to get back on track.
Yeah.
They don't have the mental health rehab that, okay, I'm having a bad time. I've got to put the work in so I can get back match fit.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome, actually. Yeah.
Feel free to use that one.
No, yeah, I'll credit you. No, but they like, yeah, you're right. You know, someone breaks their ankle or whatever. Oh yeah, 2-month recovery, and you're going to be at the club every Tuesday and Thursday doing like hyperbaric chambers, ice. Yeah. We're going to be strengthening up with the physio. Mental health, oh no worries, take some time off and look after yourself.
Yeah.
Where it should be like, there should be a system in place. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do there. Is there anything else we need to cover?
I don't know. I feel like I've banged on for a while. Yeah.
No, like I'm just, we're going through it. Any more music stuff or any more personal stuff? How are you traveling in your own personal journey? Obviously, you're pretty hyper fixated on the You Are Here thing.
Yeah.
Is it an everyday battle or you're in a good spot?
Oh, good spot mentally, to be honest. Yeah, as I said, like, I think I've been, and like it's something I work through with my therapist, is that like, you know, I have been super hard on myself my whole life. So I do find myself sometimes getting sucked back into that. And sometimes you do just need to take yourself out of the situation and go, have a look at everything. Like, you know, you've done this, yada, yada. But no, me personally, it's been like the most purpose doing this project has given me the most purpose I've felt in a while. Getting back into music has given me a bunch of purpose. And like, now it's just like working out how I can do, you know, probably the mental health stuff a bit more permanently. Like, I work at the moment, I'm just working at a cafe and I'm also doing garden maintenance to pay the bills. I don't want to be doing that forever. Like, I go to those jobs and they're not fulfilling.
Garden maintenance is huge down here. There's a big market for it.
Having said that, I do like the garden maintenance. I get real satisfaction out of mowing a straight line with a lawnmower.
You got the ride on, or you got the push
Nah, we're just pushies. Okay. But it's still good. So and like working outside's good. But I think again, that might be something I'm being too hard on myself on. The stringer in the band said, you know, I don't like work, but I work so I can do all these things in my life that I love. So
it's true, man. And do you know what? I think there's a huge sort of a lot can be said for not, because if you're a musician, you figured out that takes the fun out of it for you. So when you do fill your cup by doing that as a passion and not your full-time job, it does help the art, and it helps like you enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, yeah. Honestly, I think that's probably everything I need to touch on. I feel like coming in here, I was like, I really want to shout out a bunch of people that were really important in my journey. So my sister was huge. Favorite person in the world. Don't think I mentioned her once in this, so shout out to Lottie.
She's still down the peninsula?
Yeah, she is. Yeah. And then everyone I've played music with my whole life. Yeah, my mum and my dad, and I just think that probably just wanted to shout out my sister. I think that without her, all this probably wouldn't have happened. So yeah, she's the main piece in all this.
For sure, man. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming in. It was a good chat, and I'm keen to have you back on, and we can talk about your journey and where you're going with You Are Here, maybe when it's a little bit further down the roadmap.
Keen, yeah.
We won't be in this space. We'll be somewhere else, but man, it'll be cool, and I look forward to seeing what you've got in store for us.
Cheers. Thanks, Maloney.
Cheers.
3,000.